I can't stress this enough, and I know after a while it comes off as a cliche of repetitiveness or probably boring or whatnot, but we have to keep this in mind. And I never do things or say things to offend or defend anyone, but we are programmed by society, social media. We're programmed by everything, but we aren't taking accountability to educate ourselves, relearn, unlearn certain things, and then we get mad at the next person for picking and choosing. I do my due diligence, but I also pick and choose. But for me, I always like to try to have, more information because again, we can't mind our business, but when we do mind our business, it becomes an issue, and this is how we get into some shit.
What's up, blessed ones? You are now blaring the podcast. Brought to you by AB1 Studios. Thank you for your time. Listening. You wanna know something else, blessed ones?
So I wanted to point something out because there's this video of Nia Long that's resurfacing from, I guess, from a couple years ago where she was talking about how she used to date this 30-year-old man when she was in, high school or whatnot. And I seen so many comments, coming at, the guy, coming at the mom. And again, right is right, wrong is wrong, sure. And people talk about how it was it's the norm. It was a norm back then because, again, what was this, like, probably like the 80s or whatnot. People know Nia Long, beautiful woman. Like, you'll be, it's a lot of, even still is a lot of men's dream woman. Like, we all crushed on her, Halle Berry, Jada Pinkett, Robin Givens. Like, we all crushed on these women, but it was like people didn't acknowledge what she had said. And again, it was a small clip that I looked at, but it was, she said, he was from Oman or wherever that is. I think that's somewhere, somewhere in Asia or something. But one thing that I, want to say is that, of course, being a full-grown man, being interested in a young woman, teenager, whether you're 16, 17, 18, 19, we all have our limits and preferences. One thing I will say, again, about picking and choosing, a lot of people did it. I know people in high school and my upcoming, and I graduated in '05, and I know there was some women in my school that was dating older guys. I don't know if they was in their 30s, but they was still, older. And I want to know, like, what the guidelines are, because again, we can say that the age of consent is 16. We can say the age of consent is 17. We can say that as long as the parents are okay with it, then it shouldn't be an issue, because people talk about how what would a grown adult have in common with a child? And we have to start not being politically correct, but we have to understand that different cultures go by different things. So we don't really know what the culture is. Like, we looking outside looking in, and we say this is wrong. Now, to me, I'm not doing it. I'm 35. Like, for me, I have a limit even in that. Like I say, I think if you're, 9 years younger than me, I might have to fall back. I don't care how old you are. Because to me, it's like there's that generation. Like, I work with people that's 20 years older. I work with people that's 10, 15 years younger than me. Like, I work in retail, and then I look at the cultural differences and the age differences and all the generational differences. And that's work. But when it comes to romantic relationships, even platonic relationships, you have to be, available to help out the youth, and you have to also be set boundaries to remove yourself from that. Like, I'm a parent. Okay, I have children, nieces and nephews. I have coworkers. I have, younger children that I'm around, and some of them can look at me like uncle. Some of them can look at me like big brother. Some of them can look at me like, dad or whatnot. But, not to validate this, because I want to be clear that is definitely morally wrong for me. But I'm going to tell you why. It's because you might, again, if you're old enough to where you can still make adult decisions, and you're dealing with someone who cannot, there's the compatibility level is just kind of just out of this. It's just, I can't even use the word, but it's just kind of, it's wild. So I don't sit here and judge or fault anyone, because again, we got to look at it. When I was an adult, well, when I was young, like I said, I'm 35, Nia Long, the Holly Berry, they're in the 50s and stuff. And, of course I'm a young man, and I have, desires and crushes and stuff like that. But I also crushed on a woman my age. But it's also one of those things where it's like, we got to look at what is it about a woman that men is attracted to. You can see a good looking woman who is 20 years older than you, 10 years older than you, and be like, she's beautiful. You watch these movies that you're probably not even supposed to watch. Right? It's rated R, rated PG-13, whatever. And like, going back again to the programming, like, we are programmed by society, and now in the 21st century, we have social media. And then, so for my generation, we have the social media, we have society, we have the homes of Christian culture still, making their judgments. And for me, I always think about, okay, if our mind isn't even fully developed until the age of 25, should we even think about dating? Because as a man, as a father, I'm not going to sit here and teach my son how to, be a husband or be a boyfriend. And he's 6. I mean, there's certain things that they're going to see, like how I treat his mom, my ex-wife, is everything. So I do have to treat her with respect So, because the fact that he doesn't even live with me, even, and this is why, again, I said this last episode, this is why it's important to have that foundation. But when you are living separately from your children, especially when they're at a young age, they're going to develop and see certain things. And of course, I do my best to make sure that he respects his mom and that this is not what you're supposed to do. I don't really want to think about it, but I know because it's just one of those things that, you just can't escape. And we haven't really gotten to that point of how do we eliminate this? Because again, we can control what they watch. We got the tablets, got the phones now. They're going to see certain things. Like, again, I'm not going to sit here and put him in isolation because I want to look at certain things on television. I'll put certain things on his radar to stay a child as young as much as possible. But I know because it is a human desire, it's a human nature to be attracted to the opposite sex, man and woman. A man should be attracted to a woman, and a woman be attracted to a man. So, like, when you're a child and you're developing these feelings, you because people don't know this. Like, I have to tell this to my brother a lot of times. Like, my son, he was a baby. He would have hard-ons, but it wasn't even a sexual thing. So people don't know that babies, boys, they have erections, but it's not always from arousement. So it's a natural thing. Now, when he starts experiencing, sexual attraction from the opposite sex, that conversation is going to come up. But even now, it's like, he's a kid. Like, yeah, this is my girlfriend. He might think, oh, that this little girl is cute, right? So my point is this, though. Like, we have to recognize what is normal, what is natural, and then what is neutral as far as that attraction. Because at the same time, programming, conditioning, and again, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not this guru or anything. Like, I lead with love all the time. But I'm going to tell you, like, when I was in high school, there was freshmen, there was sophomores, juniors, seniors. And then some freshmen, they was more developed than the seniors. I'm just going to keep it 100. And then it's like, you should definitely ask a person how old they are. I think the attraction that a lot of men have is physical. But it goes back again to restraint. Now, if this guy from wherever he's from saw Nia Long, and it's like, we know Nia Long. We see this woman, from whether it was Fresh Prince, Friday, wherever you've seen her from. Like I said, she's always been a beautiful woman. But she was a beautiful young lady at the time. So this man probably, I don't know exactly how they met, but she said, hey, he did it the right way. He asked my mom, and my mom was fine with it. And it's like, okay, well, I don't know how her dad felt about it, but I just leave it there. I'm like, all right, well, regardless of whether it was normal or not, regardless of, some people might think it's nasty, and sure, I agree. However, at the same time, it's like, there's always the core. Because, again, the culture and society is different now. We know better now. We know better. We know that, that is wrong. That is statutory rape in sense. Now, pedophilia, I don't get into that because pedophilia is more so of, puberty. If you're past the age maybe of 13, 14 and whatnot, it's called something else. Still probably wrong, but it's different things. Like, because children are children. There's certain levels of maturity that we get to. The human mind isn't fully developed until 25, and then you still have other things that you're learning, unlearning. A lot of times we don't even notice until after we didn't develop that. It's not saying that your mind is gonna stop growing or decrease, but it's like when your mind is fully developed, but you still have to remember you have to reprogram and redevelop and unlearn and recondition yourself. That's when it's kind of considered a certain thing. That's why I feel a certain way about the smoking age, the legal drinking age, because even adults in their 40s make terrible decisions. And it's not even just on the sexuality thing. It's also with just life decisions, prioritizing. So my only thing is, we gotta make better judgment, because to me, I wouldn't do that. I seen young women in their 20s, 21, 22, who were attractive. You gotta remember, keep this in mind, because people talk about Lori Harvey and all that. And Lori Harvey, she's still I think she's in her early 20s, I think, mid 20s. And then people was even talking about, Kylie Jenner. Like, people love Kylie Jenner, men love Kylie Jenner, but like, yeah, she's in her early 20s. And I mean, the only difference is now is she's older in age. She doesn't look any different. Like, she still had breasts, because this is what we have. Like, men, they have a dick, they have chest, they have body hair, they have facial hair, and they develop these things throughout time. Some don't, some do. But it's like, oh, you think this person is young looking and you're attracted to it, then you must be, a rapist or a pedophile. And it's like, nah. But that's the thing. Everybody has there's different type of attractions. But more of the story is, I think we have to do our due diligence when we pick and choose, because of course it is not, right. When we think about, 30 and 17, and regardless of the timeline it was in, you also got to think about the type of culture that other people are in. Everybody don't live by your truth. Some people might agree with me, some people might not, but it's like, I can't do anything with that. The only person that can really condemn me is God, and I have to take accountability for the decisions that I make, the mistakes that I make, and hope and pray that I can be redeemed and forgiven for those mistakes. Because we do have people in our lives that will teach us certain things that we thought was right. Mainly society, mainly television. But then it was wrong the whole time, because, again, we have these laws. The laws made things what they are. The laws are necessary. And if you're breaking the law, regardless of how you feel about it, regardless if you agree with it or not, if you're breaking the law, that is wrong. So you have to then make a decision. You have some people who feel as though, all right, I'm going to jaywalk. Petty crime. I'm going to steal something. Petty crime, maybe, depends on what it is. But then there's some other people who might say, nah, it's okay. So, like I said, but again, it's against the law. We all bend the rules and break the rules. I've break the rules and bend the rules. Especially in my line of work, I done things maybe I probably shouldn't have done. Whether I knew whether I knew it was right or not, but I'm dealing with the consequences of that. I have to deal with the consequences of that. But it's all about restraint. I don't think nothing is wrong with thinking a certain way. It's more about what you do. Because if you're thinking a certain way, then you have to kind of like because you have to reevaluate. You have to kind of get help and get some assistance on correct way of doing things, because you don't want your thoughts to become a reality as far as the things that are wrong, the things that are against the law, I guess you can say. But like I say again, when it comes to a situation like Nia Long, you know, again, I don't know what the right way is. Like, he came to his mom. So apparently, I ain't gonna say apparently, but if her mom was okay with it and she was at a certain age, because at the same time, you got to remember, like, 14-year-olds are fucking. Not saying that it's right, but it's like, at what point, when is it okay to date? Is dating only for adults? Because at the same time, you got to remember this: the age, the age, the age law can change. The age law can be different. Some states it might be okay to buy, cigarettes and stuff. Some places, like 21 is the age that you can drink. But again, people still drink at a younger age. So it's like, how do the mind kind of process? So that's just something to think about. And today is Valentine's Day, and by the time y'all listen to this, it'll probably be already past Valentine's Day. I do wanna shift topics for a second. Like, I think I asked this before. Like I said, things can be repetitive sometimes in a cliche. But like I said, it's all about re-educating, relearning, and reconditioning. So sometimes you have to continue to do things and say things for things to kind of click and to change. So, like, what is a good date? What are some good gifts? Like, and why are people just so offensive about it? Like, I seen this post. Somebody was talking about, Valentine's Day don't matter. Like, what is that? I'm sitting here like, people sometimes can be so woke that, they can talk themselves into hell. They put themselves through so much, because it's like, we have these holidays that are celebrated and acknowledged, and people make it just like Thanksgiving and Easter and Christmas, Valentine's Day, all that stuff. Like, people don't want to, like, people who don't acknowledge it or say don't recognize it because, oh, this is, a pagan holiday. And it's like, okay, so Thanksgiving is a celebration of, when America killed the Indians and all this stuff. And it's like, but look what you're doing. You people, like I said, picking and choosing. Like, if you're going to pick and choose and going to crucify people for taking the time to celebrate or do things on holidays that they can get off work, or even acknowledge their loved ones, even though you should take it every day, then your birthday shouldn't matter neither. Your birthday shouldn't matter, like weddings, none of that stuff. Because here's the thing: nothing deserves more praise than God. Nothing or no one. Because I'm gonna tell you one thing: God allows certain things, and though we are human, we do have to take accountability of what we know and how we pursue and do things. We still have to remember that life should not affect your life so much to where you're sitting here condemning someone else. Like I said, right is right, wrong is wrong. Correction and judgment are two different things. I don't think anyone needs to be corrected for celebrating Christmas, Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day. because people know the history. People know what it's about. A lot of people make it about Jesus. A lot of people make it about gifts. But at the same time, the information's there. Because and let's say that let's say not everybody knows the origin of Valentine's Day or Easter and all that, right? And you tell them that's not, because again, you have to condition yourself to forget about it. Just imagine if God came down, because since this is about energy. If God told you, hey, treat every day like it's your birthday, because every day is anew. Is that a problem? Wouldn't that be a problem? Because again, your birthday is selfish and self-centered. There's nothing humbling about celebrating your birthday. If you're celebrating it, shouldn't we be humble at all times? So if people want to use Valentine's Day as a day of loving their partner, or maybe even having a date, let them do it. I think if you're in a relationship, Valentine's Day isn't that important. But if you're talking to someone, or if you just kind of like want to go out with someone, say, hey, let's go on Valentine's Day, because again, there's we get certain things. There's an advertisement and a good promotion for Valentine's Day. You might be able to get more candy. You might be able to see more bears, because again, sometimes it's a marketing thing. Valentine's Day is marketing. Easter is marketing. Christmas and Thanksgiving, marketing. Black Friday is marketing. Because trust and believe me, you're going to be going out there trying to get those sales. So is that still considered celebration? But I just wanted to touch base on that, because I have expressed this enough times to where if you're a faithful listener, you know me, that I'm really trying. I'm working on me, but I cannot stress this enough, is that do not misjudge people for what they do without educating yourself. Sometimes I can go back and end up contradicting myself because of my ignorance. But when I learn or discover something that might have been missed, I take accountability for that. And whether I do it publicly or privately, I can sleep at night. See, what I do can affect people around me. What I say can affect people around me. And I have to have retribution. I have to get redemption. But again, my relationship with God is most important and the most valuable. So as long as I know that God has forgiven me and redeemed me, I know that everything else is going to be fine, because I am human. And of course, that's a cliche as well. There's another thing that I wanted to address. The Super Bowl needs to go ahead and be a holiday. Because again, baseball is still an American sport, but it's almost like people take off, like people will be off work, like nobody's shopping when the Super Bowl's on. Even if you don't watch sports like that, like me, the Super Bowl it's a holiday. It's one of those unwritten holidays. Like, here's the thing, like, I think it's like people just want to have control. Like when I was saying certain things, like because the Super Bowl isn't a holiday, technically it's celebrated more. People will take off work. Some people will make bets. People will they will go to the cookouts and have dinner because it's a Super Bowl. that's still praising a day, right? It's not. They say Super Bowl Sunday is because it's on every Sunday. It's just like on Easter. Easter is on a Sunday. You know, WrestleMania is on a Sunday. Maybe it's on a Saturday and Sunday now, but it's like there are certain things that are just strictly for Sundays. Just like Thanksgiving is usually on Thursdays, but and it's probably because, even with Black Friday, I think it's a certain thing. Cyber Monday. But the reason why I say that is because, things can. There's a day. I think there's a day in every month that has a holiday, and maybe more than one. And then it's like, I think there should be at least one day out of each month every year where we celebrate it. Because again, we have New Year's in January, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which isn't a day that people, like some people get taken on. Then on February, again, we got Valentine's Day. March is St. Patrick's Day. April, I think, is Easter. June, I'm not 100% sure what June is, but July is Independence Day. No, June is Juneteenth, of course. Juneteenth, that's a holiday now. So shout out to the government for that. So we have Juneteenth now, federal holiday. I don't get paid for it, fuck AutoZone. But 4th of July. August, I guess you can say back to school. I'm not sure. September, you have, I don't know what's in September. Somebody help me here. October, Halloween. November, Thanksgiving, Black Friday. And of course, Christmas and December. So maybe what, like two months out of the 12, there's a holiday that's being celebrated. Whether it's religious or not, it's like there's going to be a day you might be off. Like some people are not going to be off work for Halloween, but it's a holiday for children. They get to trick or treat and do certain things like that. And I talked about that. But people was talking about Rihanna being pregnant, right? And again, that was another thing. Some people was happy. Some people was like, man, how did she get pregnant already? She just had a baby. And I'm like, look, y'all let social media dictate everything for y'all. Because whether she had her baby in May, whether she had her baby in March, whether she had her baby in the summertime, it's like, do we really know how far along she is? Because I'm going to tell you this. I know women who have babies and you would never know. Like, they might have a small little pill. You would probably think they're only 3 months. But there are some people who are that skinny. And just like there are some women who will be pregnant and you won't know because they're so big. But it's like people kind of say, hey, it ain't been 6 weeks. I'm like, May was a long time ago. I don't know exactly when that child was born, but it's still like, it's February now and y'all seeing her belly. Some people were saying that, she really wasn't pregnant. You know how long it takes for them to get rid of that baby fat. But it's like, shoot, we seen her pregnant right then. And like, it's just, everybody just has something to say about it. And that's fine. Congratulations to Rihanna and A$AP Rocky, who is a beautiful couple, if you ask me. You can say, two fashion icons in some sense in their own right. I'm still waiting for that Kanye, that Yeezy and Fenty collab. It's coming. Y'all have y'all Fenty underwears with holes in it called the Holy Draws. Holy Wear by Fenty and Yeezy. But it is what it is. But I I want to congratulate Rihanna and A$AP. Like I said, I didn't really watch the Super Bowl, but I did catch some things. But it was just something that I wanted to ask. Because again, I'm not a doctor. I've been I've been married. I've been with pregnant women, dated them. Did like some people say, hey, you can't have sex after 6 weeks. Wait 6 weeks before you have sex again. So let's say the baby was born in May, right? So that's May. So then you have maybe the whole, let's say June. Let's say June, July. So let's say they conceived in August, September, October, November, December, January, February. That's 6 months right there. There are some women who will be showing at 4 months. And like I said, there'll be some women who won't be showing at all. So regardless of when she had the baby, again, Rihanna, like, come on, let's be real. Let's be real. Like, is ASAP Rocky wrong? Is Rihanna wrong for already getting pregnant again? I can joke. I got jokes for days, but at the same time, yo, like, she's pregnant. Says some sources. If it's official, congratulations. If not, it's like, oh well. But I just want to say this to those y'all listening. Again, I appreciate y'all. You have to remember that people in positions, and since I'm talking about Rihanna, she's in a position where she can do what a lot of other women can't do. A$AP Rocky, he can do a lot of things other guys can't do. But you gotta remember, let's be real, because here's the thing. Rihanna is a beautiful woman. She has sex appeal. So I don't blame A$AP. So my condolences to the people who's mad, to people who has a problem, because hey, she's still a young, beautiful woman. We don't, like I said, those of you who don't know a person, like, it's like we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Like I said, they probably could have been counting down. They might live together. You don't know their relationship. You only know what you see on social media. So you gotta keep that in mind. But yeah, it's one of those things, like 6 weeks. I keep saying the baby was born in May. Like that, the baby might be due again in May. The baby might come again in May because I know people who has siblings that's born in the same year. Might not have been conceived in the same year, but maybe not. But the thing is, everything seems impossible until it's not. We want to listen to the doctors and say, hey, wait 6 weeks. Maybe they didn't. Maybe some people heal faster than others, but these things are put in place for a reason. But it's also going to be those people that challenges it, because everybody is there, but you don't want to use that excuse all the time. But at the end of the day, I just want to give some insight and some encouragement, is that, you can be your own idol, or icon, I should say. Don't be so self-serving. Be self-sufficient. Don't mind your business. Just do your due diligence. That's my 2 cents. Shout out to my ex. I had 3 heart attacks this year. Thinking, hey, I had something. But shout out to all the women who left me, who didn't work out with me, who ghosted me, dissed me, broke my heart. I hope you're out there happy somewhere. No love lost. Prayers always up. And the rest of y'all, y'all stay safe, stay prosperous, productive, and most importantly, positive. Y'all know the deal. I'm out.